Hi, everyone. This lecture video is all about how do you find research to help you formulate your speech. I have a presentation slide deck to accompany this video, so let's pull it up right now. So this is chapter 6 from Public Speaking for College and Career, and the title of the chapter is Locating Information. I think that a huge reason why I enjoy this chapter and always love teaching on this is because I came from a liberal college for my bachelor's and went into a big university Michigan State University. And when I went to Michigan State, I didn't feel like I had the tools to write an article. And I struggled a lot on how to locate information for my articles and for just my general speeches, because a lot of the speeches I would do at Concordia University were kind of based on my own knowledge or with very minimal research without articles based on them. I knew how to do article-based research, but not to the extent that I had to when I went to my graduate career. Why do I talk about finding articles for a public speaking course? Because obviously you're not going to be writing articles. The reason is when you are able to do research at that level, everything else seems a lot easier to find research. And so I'm just really excited to kind of share this knowledge because I struggled and I don't want you to have to struggle. So let's jump right in. So it's important that you find materials efficiently. So you want to begin with a purpose statement and establish a research strategy. So oftentimes you will establish your purpose statement early on when you're writing your outline. So you should know what the purpose is of your speech. And then you establish a research strategy of how you're going to go about finding said research. A big misconception about finding good research is a Google search provides numerous reliable sources. Yes and no. It really depends on what you are researching for. And just because it's on Google in your normal or your average Google search, like when you type it in, it's going to yield a lot of different results potentially. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to find good scholarly articles to help you find research. So it's important that you find materials efficiently. So like I said, you want to begin with your purpose statement. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that purpose statement and you're going to turn it into a question. So if your speech is about the electoral college, you wouldn't put into Google everything about electoral college. Pose it as a question and say, why does the United States use the Electoral College? And build off of that. So Google responds really well to questions. And that's what I would recommend when you want to find materials efficiently. It's also important that you plan out your time. Research can sometimes be lengthy. I've had situations where I plan out to spend 10 hours doing research and I get it done in 2. That's great, right? But then there are times where I'm like, oh, this should only take 2 hours to do the research, and it ends up taking like 10 or 15. So just make sure that you plan out your time. You can do this by making a to-do list for your research. You can say like, I need 3 articles to support this claim, to support this claim, and to support this claim. You can plan specific dates and times when you will block off to do your research. And you can even do like a check off your accomplishments. Like I said, kind of check off your to-do list. There are some major resources you can use to find research and literature. First and foremost, you can go to the libraries. You can also do online research and you can do field research. And we're going to explore all three of these in a little bit more depth. So the libraries are a great place for just content. They have books, they have online resources. So you can also get help from the librarians. Librarians have masters in their field. I believe they have to have a master's to be able to do their job. They are very knowledgeable about the education system and where literature is. And so don't be afraid to ask for help. I can't tell you how many times like I've gone into a big library and I don't even know where to begin. So I just go and ask a librarian on where do I start? Where can I find this subject, topic matter, you name it. You can use books, you can use mainstream publications and scholarly journals. Something I really always find interesting going into libraries, because I'm a semi-nerd, I love going back and looking at old newspapers. Fun fact, libraries keep like all the newspapers ever. And it's kind of sometimes cool to go back and look and see like what happened in, I don't know, 1909 or something like that. And they have the authentic copy. So it's really a cool thing to be able to get your hands on some authentic publications. But there are tons of resources available in the library. Even in the library, they have electronic databases. So there's the interlibrary loan. What this is let's say there's a book you are desperately looking for, and you go to the Lone Star Library and you say, hey, I want all the books on reptiles discovered in 2010. That's the title of the book, Reptiles Discovered in 2010. Your librarian may say, oh, we don't have that book. Okay, that's fine. Maybe they don't even have it on an electronic copy. They don't own the rights to the book at all. What they do is there's an interlibrary loan. So all the libraries are connected, well, the majority of them. And what our university or college can do is they can contact another library and get you that book as a loan. So there are ways for you to receive the content if you really want it. But again, you always ask for help if you have any questions, but we do have an interlibrary loan available. You can also do online research, which at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how I do research for a topic. And I'll show you what these quotes and dashes essentially mean. So the first one is put the search query in quotes. And what that means is when you put something in quotes, that's the exact phrase that you're going to want to search for. So I'll give an example of this here in a minute. You can use a hyphen to filter out a word. So think of it as like negative, like I don't want any words that have this included in it. Or you can use and to make your search way more specific. Again, I will show you how to use these advanced search techniques here in a moment. Online sources, you can use groups and forums. You can use blogs as research literature. You can also do question and answer sites. I had a student one time who was talking about something in mainstream media, and they had referenced a discussion on Reddit, and it made sense for what they were talking about. As long as the source provides credibility or evidence to support your claim, whatever it might be, I believe that it warrants being put in. The biggest thing is you just need to make sure that it's not misinformation and that it's coming from a credible source. So for example, I'll have a lot of students who may use a TikTok video, or they'll say they read an article on BuzzFeed or Facebook. Those tend to not be very credible sites. It's always important to check the credentials of the individual. There are individuals on TikTok or Facebook like Dr. John Gottman, who has been studying the art of relationship communication for over 3 decades, super credible, and he has wonderful videos that match his content. So just be aware of the online source that you use when you're using it to provide credibility to your claims. You can also do field research. This is based off of your personal experience. So for example, if you have personally jarred 100, cans of peaches or dry foods, or worked at a homeless shelter, you have personal experience of what that's like, and you can use that as evidence to support your claims. You can also do investigation, and there's a couple of so for example, you can go out into the field and you can investigate something you're looking at. So maybe you are interested in how to engineer a bridge. You can actually go out into the field and investigate what it looks like, what the area is like. You may be able to measure things, but this is essentially called field research, where you go out into the field and do research to get evidence to support your claims. You can also do an informal survey. So for example, if you wanted to write a speech about roller coaster rides and what people's general reactions are to them, you could conduct a survey pre and post the roller coaster ride to then also use that as field research for your speech. And you can also interview with experts. You can reach out to them and ask them for some of their time. Just some key notes for if you are going to do personal interviews, conduct research before the interview. So for example, if you were going to contact the CEO of a marketing company because you're writing a speech on the future of digital marketing, you need to do research before you meet with that individual to know their background, what they do, and you also need to prepare questions for them. I actually met someone who is a CEO of a digital ad agency the other week at Starbucks, and I set up a meeting with them, and I did a lot of research before I set up that meeting, and I've also prepared questions. We're meeting here pretty soon. So make sure that you conduct research and prepare questions before meeting with said interviewee. And also make sure decide how you're going to record said interview. That's important. And also make sure that it's okay with the individual to record it. But it's important to also start in a relaxed and friendly manner. Just be yourself and stay relaxed, and that's a really good tip for personal interviews. Make sure to get biographical information, so like, you know, where they're from, what their name is, just so that you can identify them when you are writing about them. And ask both prepared, so questions that you've already prepared for them, but also spontaneous questions. Let the conversation flow wherever it may go. They may say something that really like triggers a thought in your mind. Ask the question. You aren't stuck with the questions that you've prepared. You can go off script. And in fact, it'll make the conversation feel a lot more conversational-like and friendlier. You can also ask the individual that you're interviewing about other sources and visuals that they would recommend for your speech or for whatever you're doing. And you can ask if you have, if they would like you to admit any questions before you submit them or talk about them. Make sure that you end the interview on time. You never want to run over, or, you know, I wouldn't run over unless they say like, hey, I have 30 more minutes. Do you want to keep talking? And if you do have the time, say yes, but if not, you're more than welcome to also shut the interview down or at the time you allotted. And then take action after the interview. What this means is I say follow up with a thank you email because they obviously gave you their time, but also write down as many notes as you possibly can. You don't want to have those notes that you've taken maybe jotted down really quickly, or maybe you didn't write down any notes and you just recorded the interview. You don't want to wait 3 weeks to pull that interview back up and then try and write down the notes. You want to put the notes down while they're fresh in your mind. And then finally, a tip for your career is develop a filing system for important ideas. I will show you here in a minute how I personally file my system for important ideas, and I'll give you the link to the video that I use to help me kind of like get research for all my speeches and all my papers. But it's important that you have a system down because it can get out of hand really fast. And when you get into your corporate career, what you'll often find is a lot of people will move or leave jobs. And when people leave, a lot of times they don't have a filing system. So it can be really hard to find something. Whereas if you have a filing system, it will not only benefit you, but it will benefit the people that come after you within the company. With that being said, I'm going to jump into how I would conduct research if I was preparing a speech just based off of what we learned here today. So let me exit this. I'm going to go into Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a really great tool to find credible information. So you go into Google Scholar. What this is going to do is Google is pulling from all of the scholastic resources it has on the internet. So it kind of takes the thinking out of it for you, which is really nice. Obviously, this is just a simple search. So let's say I am writing a speech about supportive communication. So remember, my purpose statement is to inform audience members about the benefits of supportive communication. So I'm going to turn that into a question and say, what are the benefits of supportive communication? There are over 4 million results that come up. That's a lot, right? This is how you cipher through Google Scholar. You're gonna go over here to the left-hand side and go to custom range. You're gonna do 2014 to present. And the reason I say 2014 is because you never want to go back farther than a decade. Think about research on polio vaccines. Would you prefer research that was done in 1920 or in 2021? Probably 2021 due to the relevancy. And so you want relevant information because you could, if you use something that's irrelevant, like let's say in 2000, we didn't know that lizards could regrow their tail. And you cite something that says lizards can't regrow their tail, but research has since come out saying that they can, it's gonna make you look less credible. So you want relevant information. You also want review articles, because these are articles that are peer-reviewed searched. You can also go up here into the left-hand side and go to advanced search. And instead of doing those quotations or the and, you can put in the exact phrase you want in the document. You can put where you want them to be. Do you want them to be in the title? Do you want them to be anywhere in the article? I want them to be in the title. And like I said, I want them to return articles between 2014 and 2024. And so I'm gonna search, there's none. So let me go back to advanced. And I'm just gonna put anywhere in the title. As you can see, we've now shortened our 4 million different resources down to 18,000. I usually like to say on pages 1 through 4, but if you see right here, it has a PDF. That means that you can click on it and you have access pretty much to the full resource. And if you are looking for the specific word, you can put, Command F, and you could do support. And it shows all the times that it says support. Now, going back to being specific, let's say I want to know about supportive communication and the benefits. So I'm going to put in quotes, support and benefits. When you put something in quotes, it says that you're looking for the exact phrase of it, and is saying that you want both support and benefits to be located in the documents that show up. So when we click that, you can see that these are all of the articles that have both support and benefits in them. You can add as many ands as you want. So you could do and communication. Oh, shoot. You can also look for specific phrases. So let's say I want supportive communication as the specific phrase, and you'll see that it highlights supportive communication. So this one has the actual phrase in it. So and the quotation marks are really beneficial. Remember, if you don't want something, you would put the negative sign and then you would put support. Sorry, my apologies. Don't know why it's not working. But the negative sign ultimately ends up saying you don't want that word located anywhere within your piece. This is how you do keyword searches for digital marketing as well. So it's just a really great tool to be able to have throughout your career, because if you ever have to research anything, which all of you will, essentially you'll have to know how to look up keywords. So we went through the lecture PowerPoint. I showed you how to find peer-reviewed articles on Google Scholar. I am going to link to a really great resource that I use of how to collect research. It's called How to Write a Literature Review in 7 Days, which if you've ever written a literature review, it can sometimes take up to 4 months. But this individual has organized it to the point that you can do it in 7 days. And I just really enjoy her organizational system of how she collects research. So you can use this as a tool, but you'll ultimately need to find your own rhythm and style of collecting research. If you have any questions, let me know, and I look forward to seeing how your papers and speeches improve with now knowing how to gain credible information. Have a great day.